Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday. What does that mean? That means it's the weekend and we can go off the rail, right? So I thought today we talk about being the bigger person. You're looking at me kind of strange, right? It's about when things are miscommunicated and you can either take your holy high ground or stay tuned, and we'll talk about it today. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. If you didn't already know it, yes, this is the weekend. On the weekends, we go off the rail. And today's subject is going to be being the bigger person, being the better person, being someone that decides that, you know what, you got to pick your battles. That's what my grandfather always used to say. You need to pick your battles to win the war. You know, you can't fight about everything and be old and cantankerous about everything. All right. So, of course, me, I'm the happy go lucky most of the time guy. No, not even close. You know, when you get a miscommunication with people, and this is going to happen a lot because this day and age, especially with everybody texting and messaging and all that, you don't get the tones, you don't hear the voice, you don't hear, and words can be taken a lot of different ways. And I've seen, for examples of people that were in a flat out war over something that was misread, or wasn't the meaning wasn't even remotely close to what the person was trying to convey. In case in point, our big thing here in the fall is hunting season, right? I'm getting stuff put away for haying season. I just picked up a bunch more round bales that a friend of mine gave me. I got to get those moved. I got to get firewood done. But hunting season is a big event here. It's a family tradition. We get together and we do things. And it's one of the things that I've done for all my grandkids is lifetime licenses for hunting, fishing, you name it. And I did it because it was an investment. Something that I wanted so that my kids and my grandkids would never be in a situation of where they would have to choose between enjoying the sport or using the money somewhere else. Now it's free because of my investment. So my grandson was coming up this weekend for the youth hunt. They have the youth hunt from the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th, but actually it's the 12th and the 13th. The 11th and 12th, rather. And I've been spending all week planning for this. I figured he'd sit with me this morning in one of the huts. And I sat with him the last time when he took his doe. So I told him, I said, does are off the list. We're going for a buck. Because I've seen 5 different bucks in this one area. They're all smaller. Nothing that I would take. But still, it'd be a great first one for him. So I had everything all planned out. We've checked in the shack. Make sure everything is ready. There's 2 chairs in it. And I went and visited my wife at the nursing home yesterday. And I got home and he's still not here. Because my other daughter-in-law, she was going to go up and grab him, bring him down, and drop him off. So I texted my daughter and I said, what's going on? And she said, yeah, he got picked up. I said, well, where is he? Well, you said you were busy till Sunday, so I had him drop him off at his grandmother's on the way through, and they're going to hunt the other farm this morning because I'm too busy. Now, there's 2 ways you could take that. One is trying to take the high ground, and then there's the other of being cantankerous and causing even more of a rift. But as I explained to my daughter in text, these are texts that are going back and forth, messaging. And instead of just simply calling on the phone, I think had it been on the phone, we wouldn't have had this issue. So I said, I don't ever remember saying to you that I wouldn't be around or available this weekend because that's all I planned on doing is I'm here. I've got extra fuel for the side-by-side. I've got the lead sled to sight his rifle in. I wanted to sight it in last night so that we knew it was dead on this morning to go set. None of that happened. And my daughter shot back, you need to start standing on your own 2 feet. Meaning, I think, that owning certain things. I don't mind owning things, but if I didn't say it, I have a hard time trying to own it. And I could have gone 2 directions on this. I could have gone ballistic, and that would have caused even more of a rift. Or I could just say, don't worry about it. I'm sorry, miscommunication somehow, but there's fuel here for the side-by-side because she's coming down today. There's fuel here for the side-by-side and the four-wheeler. The lead sled I'll set next to the garage, and you guys have at it. What am I going to do in all of this? I'm going to take a step back. Take a step back, work on my firewood, get my round bales in. If they've already made other plans, they've made other plans. You know, I have no control over anybody else but myself. You get to decide in life who you're going to pick your battles with. And this battle here wasn't worth picking to me because my family has been there for me. You know, very much so. And they're right. I need to start stepping up, being on my own 2 feet. I even told my daughter-in-law yesterday that I appreciate everything that she's done for me, you know, because she's been a godsend. And that, of course, my grandson is sucking me dry with raffle tickets for their school. So I told her, I said, the $50 in raffle tickets here is when my son shows up sometime today, I guess, to have him go ahead and take that and get that caught up. And that from now on, I was going to start doing my own meds. I know, because I can't do it. But I'll figure it out because I need to stand on my own 2 feet more and rely less on others. See, that's the way it was not just a year ago. I never asked anybody for anything. But I would be the first here to jump in if anybody needed help. That's where I want to get back to. I want to get back to where it's not about me. I want to get back to doing the old things and being preoccupied with the jobs that I've got in front of me instead of, you know, waiting on other people to have to come do things for me. You get to pick your battles. How would you have played this out? Would you have decided to stand your ground and say, I never said such a thing? You're being an asshole and go F yourself, right? That would have went over well. I'm just saying. But I mean, and part of me wanted to say that, but the other is saying, you know what? Pick your battles. If you want to win the war, you need to pick your battles. And this battle is not the hill I want to die on. It's not. Not with my family. Not for everything they've done for me. And they get certain liberties to say what they want to say when they want to say. And I don't snap back. Because I'm pretty easygoing probably 90% of the time. But if somebody says something that's snarky or, you know, I'll call them out on it. I'll call you out on it. Like, excuse me? What did you just say? You know, because I'm a North Country boy. We don't. You don't whisper underneath your breath. If you got something to say, just say it. And that's the way I've always been throughout my life. Is if you got something to say to me, just say it. Get it off your mind. You know, let it out. See where it goes from there. Maybe you've been holding a grudge or anger or this or that over something that happened 20 years ago. It's about time to let go. And I'll apologize and we can move forward and have a better relationship. But as long as you're holding that back and you're not saying what you really feel, are you really helping the situation? And the answer is no. It's not. People are not mind readers. I'm not a mind reader. If somebody has a problem with me, most often, unless they're being snarky or a POS, I don't know. And that's something I've always said to my kids. If you got something to say and you need to vocalize it so that I understand where you're coming from. May not mean that I'm going to agree with where you're coming from, but at least I'll get a sense of where you're coming from. And then we can start to mend and move forward from there. But not until. Because if only half of us has the information to work with, and you're looking at me trying to get me to be a mind reader of what's bothering you, I got news for you. It just ain't going to happen. I give up my crystal ball years ago. I can't even find it anymore. Where crystal ball, where is this? Oh, yes, this is the problem. I don't even have my, what the heck would they call them? They were like a Rubik's Cube, but you shook it up, the 8-ball, and it would answer your question, yes or no. I don't even have one of those. So I'm at a loss when it comes to trying to figure out what somebody else is thinking. But this is going to be something that you need to kind of live by in your personal life and in your business life. And if you don't, it's going to make life really hard. All right? Take your business life. Let's take the repair shop. If a customer comes in and pays the bill and then leaves and then is bitching and complaining to everybody they come in contact with that the bill was way too high. Well, you had your chance when you were standing right in front of me to go through itemized. What is it that you feel is too high? And let me explain to you why. We just had a John Deere that had an oil leak in the front drive line. It's 4-wheel drive. And ended up being the seal. Well, the seal was only $19 and some cents. But it took 3 hours of labor to get that. We heated, beaded, and got it out, put the new one in. It went back together easier than it come apart. But it was time intensive. So the guy was a little upset about the labor part of the bill. Why was it so much for just a general service? I said it came in for a general service. You wanted the hydraulic fluid and filter changed. You wanted the oil and oil filter changed. The fuel filter changed. And you wanted the seal, whatever was leaking in the front, the 90 weight, fixed. That's all done. We even topped off your antifreeze, greased, and did a once front to back. You need to let your customers know. If you have any concerns or questions or anything about this bill, speak up now. And I've got so I do that. I'll present the customer a bill and say, take a minute, look through it. Is there anything that you see that you have any questions on or concerns on? And we can address it right here. Let's do it here before you leave the door and then start complaining. And then after a week of telling everybody how we suck, you come back and because I've caught wind of it And I grab the bill and I show you, and then I tell you how hard it was to get that shaft out. And you go, oh yeah, that's right, it would be kind of hard. Now you're okay with it, but you should have asked those questions when I handed you the bill. If you had any concerns. If you thought the bill was high, you should have said it. Same thing with miscommunications. When a customer drops off a machine and says that complaining about this, and this is what they want fixed. And then you get it fixed, and then they say, well, you forgot this and this. Well, it wasn't that we forgot. It's you didn't tell us, because I wrote everything down as you were going down through your little list. And we even have customers bring in their own list, and we staple it to the work order. And then put a line through it as we get it done on the list. But this is something to give thought to. How do you handle it? And put it in the comments of when there's a disagreement over a text or a message, or is it a battle worth fighting? I guess is the big thing that I put to you. Is you're going to have a lot of battles in life, and you're going to pick and choose your battles, right? And the ones to choose are the ones that are the very most important, and that usually concerns your family. Now, this here, I could have chose this one as my battle with my daughter, and not even close, not even remotely close. I'm just going to let it go. It's on me, and move forward. So give that some thought today. If you've got family or friends and you're looking at having issues because of a text, a message, an interaction, and you've got two choices. You can either take and be the better person and say, you know what, don't worry about it. It's on me. All right? I'll take this one. And let's get to a better place. Some people try for them to do that, because I'm not asking you to admit guilt or being coerced into anything. It's just saying, is the battle worth fighting? And if it's worth fighting, fight tooth and nail for it. But if it's not, you may want to reconsider your approach. So on that note, you have a great Saturday, and we might catch you here for tomorrow for the Sunday sermon. Who knows? The day's early.